Hello and welcome to episode 125 of Gamers of Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Chesson. I'm pulling up a mic this week. It's the other Spark on the pod. He's back by popular demand. It's the gaming's Yorkshire pudding, Mr. Steve Carter.
Hello again, sir. How are we doing?
Not too bad, sir. Not too bad. How are you? 2 weeks in a row. This is fantastic.
I know. Like buses, you don't see one for a while, then they come in twos. So I might not be seen for another month or so after this week. But yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back.
Excellent stuff. I have a bit of housekeeping. I have two bits of housekeeping actually to start off with. The first bit of housekeeping, it's our third Podiversary. So it's our third anniversary of the Lost Spark podcast. We are 3 years old.
We're wiser. We're better.
Yes.
We're maturing. We're maturing.
Exactly. We're out of diapers now. We could walk on our own, and we're out of diapers. But yeah, it's our third. It popped up on my iPhone the other day. It just popped up and said, Lost Spark anniversary, and I was like, wow. I thought for some reason it was in June, but it wasn't. It's May. So yeah, 3 years, 125 episodes in 3 years. That's
still
good going.
Still going strong.
Still going strong. Better, faster, stronger. And then the second piece of housekeeping was I got pulled up in a WhatsApp group this week where a listener said to me that I didn't make a Batman reference. So Andy sent me a message and he just basically said he didn't recall hearing a Batman reference last week. I can't believe, Steve, you and I, two Batman fans, missed. We didn't say Batman. We didn't have a Batman reference. So he actually said, "Tell me I didn't miss one." I said, "Do you know what? I don't think I made one." So he said he was very dissatisfied and disappointed. And his no-star iTunes review. But yes, so Batman, Wee Man. Apologies, Wee Man, apologies, and Batman, really.
And on that note, Mr. Thomas has already dialed out when he listens to this. He'll have been happy last week with no. I don't think we even made a Segway reference either. So he'll have been loving life last week. So
I think there was a segue. I think there was a segue.
There?
I think there was a Thomas-inducing segue, rage-inducing segue. I mean, to actually kind of compensate for my no Batman reference, I do actually have a Nightwing T-shirt on as well today. just to make sure that I didn't forget.
Filled with Batman.
Exactly. We are filled to the brim with Batman. So Steve, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. Still a bit quiet. Still a bit quiet on the gaming front all round. Really, we were discussing this before we started. But just the lull before E3, the inevitable lull. Before E3 kicks in. I think it's just that point before things start building up for it. We're kind of just a little bit before that. So yeah, just been catching up. Still plugging away on the Xbox One X. Still getting acclimatized to that and catching up with Orange is the New Black as well. Still going on that. So still stupidly stayed up till about 12:30, 1 o'clock last night to watch it.
Wow.
We just get hooked. We just get hooked on binge watching it. We'll watch one, then we'll want to watch another, and then another. So we just had to kind of call it time there because we both had to be up for work this morning. So a bit bleary eyed when I got up this morning, but it's worth it. I enjoy it. It's probably not something that similar sort of ilk to what we normally talk about and what we normally sort of watch on sort of Netflix. Like the sort of Punisher, Stranger Things, that sort of thing. But I'm enjoying it. I think it's really well written, and I didn't discover until last night that it's actually loosely based around memoirs from somebody who was actually in a women's prison.
Oh wow!
Because I thought it was all fictional, which I'm sure some of it is, to be fair. But the actual series is based on the memoirs of a lady who was in a women's institute. So that's quite interesting. Because I just thought it was a complete work of fiction. So some of the bits in there might actually be true or realistic.
That makes me
parts?
Exactly. That makes me shudder because I just I think I've said on the pod before where I have this kind of, it's almost a phobia of prisons. I have Stuart wants to play. We're going to be playing Way Out. We were going to play on Sunday, but Stuart got man flu, and so we were supposed to. But I have a phobia of prisons. I can't watch. I've heard not only you but other people have said it's really good. You got to watch it, but I cannot watch it. I cannot watch it just because anything that had to do with the prison. I've watched Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile once, and I just can't watch them because I don't know what it is. Maybe in a past life I was a criminal, but I just cannot watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know what it is. It's not the sort of the confined space, the sort of the conditions. You don't. There's no sort of trigger. It's just prison in general. Just doesn't do it for you.
Yeah, I think, prison does do it. When I want to go on holiday, prison, I mean, it's quite funny actually, because we went to Alcatraz once on one of our trips to San Francisco. We went to Alcatraz, and throughout the entire tour, because you kind of put headphones on and you go round, you kind of walk around, it's not a guided tour, so you just put headphones on and they kind of take you around and they say, now go to section 2, and they tell you about that, and they have sounds of the prison as well playing in your ear while they're kind of giving you that tour, and the entire time I just had goosebumps, the entire time. And I think it's the conditions, I think it's being kind of maybe away from technology, I just not knowing.
There's no Apple product in here, there's no Wi-Fi.
Not being able to tweet, it's all those things that that just kind of do me. So there's something about when you're watching a TV program or something like that, and it goes to a prison and the protagonist is in prison, it really does. Jail, I'm not too bad, local jail, I'm fine. It's the prison aspect of it that just kind of
the big prisons, yeah.
Yes, it just kind of. But it's funny you should mention you started like a Netflix TV program, because Nicola and I started the kind of very back to kind of what we always talk about. We started season 2 of Jessica Jones.
All right.
So, which kind of picks up after the Defenders. And that has already kind of started kind of really straight away. It's really good. I do enjoy Jessica Jones, and it looks fantastic. It's like HDR. It's like Dolby Vision. It's HDR, and it just looks absolutely superb.
Yeah, there's so much on Netflix. We've said this before, but there's so much on Netflix right now, isn't there? That every time you load it, there's so many series on there that's produced by them, or they've bought the rights to them. That's the place to be for anything at the moment is Netflix. For any sort of TV series or for binge watching. It's like you say, when you get your 4K goodness as well. You'd be bad not to have a Netflix subscription at the minute.
Absolutely. So though it is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, though I think that's it for me as well. I think we played that. Oh, I mean, good news for me today. We had the decorators and the painters have finally left the building. So that means the movie room 2.0 is almost kind of ready. It's kind of now we've got to let the paint dry. We unfortunately we couldn't get carpets laid until next Thursday. So I have like an agonising week of an empty room just kind of waiting to be filled.
You're just sitting in it, just imagining what it's going to look like.
Exactly. This is my space. This is where the TV's going. So we've got the 24th is when the carpets are coming, and then I've got the 25th off. Just so, because we've got so many deliveries coming, we've got stuff coming back from storage and sofas arriving and all that sort of malarkey. So in a couple of weeks' time, it will be up and running. So it was quite exciting today when they kind of took all of the kind of protective film around the door and all of the stuff that's been keeping the dust in. They kind of took that off. It was quite a moment.
Yeah. Great. Are we invited to the grand unveiling? The opening,
yes.
The opening night.
Yeah, I'll have spotlights in the front garden. As you walk down the path. Yeah, that's it. Oh my God, where can I hire a red carpet? Right, I'm googling hire red carpet.
I'm sure Stuart must be able to sort. So you must have some link somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure in Tunbridge Wells. Yeah, Stuart will be able to help me. I'm sure in Tunbridge Wells. We have red carpet when we get to the train station, so I'm sure there must be.
Local council will be able to help you out.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm quite looking forward to that. I'm quite looking forward to kind of getting everything. I do have a day planned where I'm just putting all of the tech back in the room. Kind of resetting everything. So everything needs. It's almost been a year. It's almost been a year since it was all taken out. So I need to make sure that everything's got the latest firmware and all of that sort of malarkey. I've got some new stuff to unbox and things like that. So it's all going to be just kind of making sure that I've this. Like, I'll just be firmware upgrading all of the stuff for like days. So
it's a proper man day.
Yes, absolutely. I cannot wait. But enough about that. What have you been playing this week, Steve?
So I'm still the same as last week, really. Far Cry 5. That's taken the most time in the disc tray for me. Still over the course of this week. I'm now onto the last region.
Oh wow!
The third and final region of there. So I've finished the second region now, but it still, it still looks fantastic. It's just great just to play. I just find myself picking it up for about 40 minutes to an hour on a night. Just to go sort of liberate an outpost, just do a couple of missions and then just put it down because I want to enjoy it. I've not want to rush through it. I just want to enjoy my time there. See what it's got to offer, and just take it from there. Forza 7 did install. On the
did
night
it finally
which we
install?
Last podded. Yes, yeah. It wasn't too long after we'd finished actually.
Right.
So I think it was the next day that I actually got it on because I still had the Friday off of work, so I had to go on that. But yeah, what you said about the the lighting, the graphics on that are stunning. It's
Yes.
I think because you said Suzuka in the wet. That's one of the intro races.
Is it?
When you first start the the main campaign or string of races, there's a Suzuka race in the wet, and it's just stunning. It just looks fantastic. It just so runs crisp, it's smooth. The details inside and outside the car. Because I gave the internal cockpit view a look as well. And it's beautiful. Inside and out, it is superb, and to see it running in 4K at a silky smooth frame rate as well, it just makes such a difference. It's brilliant. So I think I did my first 2 sort of championships on that. I haven't been back since actually, since I tried it. But that's something that I'm just sort of batting between Far Cry and Forza. But what a way to introduce having an X. 2 games there that showcase the X perfectly. It's brilliant. And if you can afford to do it, it just proves that it is worth it. Obviously, graphics aren't everything, but if you can afford to have them, you're getting the best experience that you can do. At the time, and what they're pushing out of that box, in terms of capability, it easily could rival a lower end 4K PC. It's fantastic. It's good to see. But yeah, that's it really. Bit quiet again, in between sort of my Boomerang rentals and and the games that are coming out. I have got the Zodiac Age on the PlayStation, the remake of that to play. So that's installed. So I'm going to dabble in that eventually, because I've not actually played that Final Fantasy outing actually. I never played it when it was out on the PS2, so that's something I'm going into completely blind. So I think Anna's working this weekend, so I think Saturday might just be spent, just catching up with some games and some movies and TV. But yeah, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Yeah, I've been kind of in between games now. I'm kind of waiting for State of Decay 2 to kind of come out. So I've been kind of the time that I have had kind of gaming. I've been playing some Forza 7. I think I might have said on the pod either last week or the week before that I got the 300 car achievement, and I was like, right, I'm done. I'm now waiting for Forza Horizon. I'm now on garden leave waiting for Forza Horizon. But I lied because I've gone back to Forza 7. I just can't. There's something about kind of sitting down on a Sunday morning, and just kind of doing and playing some Forza while I'm listening to a podcast. And so this Sunday I kind of went downstairs and I just was like, I really just fancy playing some Forza. So I kind of I fired up Forza 7 again, and I just I'm same as you. It's so lovely. It's just such a slick game to kind of play. So I mean, when you're driving, I found that when I first fired up 4K because I think Forza 7 came out before the Xbox One X, and then it got a patch kind of on day one. But as soon as I fired that up, it's almost like the graphics are too nice now to be in car, because I got used to, I think Forza 5 and Forza 6 I was in car, and then I've just got so used to it. It's so lovely, the graphics are so lovely that I'm now back to kind of on the bonnet view. So because I don't want to be I don't want the vistas, I don't want the track to be kind of behind a glass, so I just can't bring myself to being in cockpit view anymore, even though I really do like that view and I do like that kind of that driving position. It's I'm back to kind of there. So yes, I played a bit of Forza 7 similar to you, but then I've been the biggest game I've been playing really is Lego Marvel 2. So I guess after watching Infinity War and seeing all those kind of Lego movies, those Marvel movies, I'm kind of like, do you know what? I never finished. I never even got kind of past kind of first couple of levels of Lego Marvel 2. So I really want to jump back into that. So I've kind of jumped back into that. I think because it's been bright and sunny this week, I've been getting up early as well, like in the morning. So waking up about kind of 5:30, kind of 6 o'clock, and I'm working from home, so I've just been kind of playing some games in the morning as well, and I've just been really enjoying just kind of like playing Lego Marvel. It's a very easy game to play, and it's just one that you can just kind of pick up and kind of get into the puzzles. But similar to all the games we've been talking about, this one also is Xbox One X enhanced as well. It's not HDR, it's just 4K, I think, or enhanced, and it just looks so good. It just looks like it's like you're playing real Lego. It's really,
you can almost feel it.
Yes, exactly. You can hear the clicks, you can see the pops. It's just really cool. It's just lovely. It's just such a great game, and and I'm going through the kind of Marvel movie verse and just kind of going through, and I did see that we bought the kind of a deluxe edition when it came out. So there is a Black Panther, there is a Infinity War, and I think there is also original Guardians of the Galaxy, i.e. back to their comic book origins as well. There's some add-ons there, like once you finish the game, there's some add-ons to play. So there's lots of stuff to just kind of jump in and play. So I've really enjoyed it. It's just such a great game. I wouldn't mind playing it on the Switch. I reckon it would be really cool on the Switch. There's a Lego Incredibles is coming out. I think it's July. I've got a press release today about it, saying about the release date for that. I'm just going into my email. And I'm pretty sure... Nope, that's the wrong email. I'm pretty sure that they said it was either June 15th or July 15th that... The Incredibles will be out. I'm just vamping now. But 13th of July, and it's coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch. But it's just almost like, I wouldn't mind kind of playing that on Switch as well, because it just, I reckon that lends itself really well. And like you, I'm kind of waiting for Boomerang to send me some more games. I've got Fractured Butthole on the Switch. Just waiting. I think I never got it when it first came out. I think I was renting 2 games at that time, so I'm just like waiting for someone to return it so I can kind of get a copy.
Yeah, I think it was there.
And then the other game
just played on that. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And then the other game that I've got is but I'm not playing at the moment, which is a crime. Is God of War. But I'm so close to having the big TV and the movie room back, so I'm saving God of War for that. So I'm relegated to the small TV when I'm in the living room, so I'm just like I'm only weeks away from 65-inch again, so I just want to play God of War on there.
Waiting to do it justice.
Exactly. I just am not doing that game justice on a small kind of TV, so I'm not even on the smaller 4K TV. I'm just on the small TV. So this is just wrong on so many levels. So I'm just waiting. I've parked that until I'm ready to go, but. Like I say, 22nd of May, my sister's birthday. I must remember, quick, got to get her a card. Say 22nd of May, I remember State of Decay over my sister's birthday. Sorry, Amanda. So 22nd of May, State of Decay is coming out. It's on Game Pass as well. So if you've got Game Pass, you can kind of download it for free, quote unquote free. So that's kind of the next big game that I'm kind of waiting for. So no doubt we'll probably be talking about it next week.
Yeah, I never played the first one of that. I think I dabbled with it because wasn't it on? I can't remember if it was Boomerang, but was it on Games with Gold at some point? I vaguely.
No, it's on Game Pass now.
Oh, is it on now?
Right. Yeah, the Xbox One, because it came out on 360, didn't it?
Yeah.
But the Xbox One Enhanced Edition is out now on Game Pass.
Right. Because I'm sure I dabbled with it in some variety, albeit very, very briefly. So I can't remember if I rented it or came by a copy. Somewhere on the line, but no, I never properly played it. So maybe I should
demo.
Maybe it might have been, but yeah, it might be something I have to. If it's on Games Pass, just go and have a quick dabble with it before the second one comes out.
Yes, it's very much the same kind of. There's a zombie outbreak, and you're kind of it's almost like a resource management game as well as a kind of a exploration game. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to kind of jump in. So got that, and also today as well, Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain came out on Games with Gold. So if you have Games with Gold, go over to your Xbox store and download that now and bag that title, because that's a fantastic game. That's another. In my pile of shame, that game is kind of towards the top, because I really enjoyed playing it on the PlayStation 4, and then got sidetracked by something else. I can't remember what something else was, but I got sidetracked and I never went back. Yeah. So I just wish I might start it again. And then probably get to the same place.
Yeah, abandon it again. Yeah.
Get distracted by something else. But yeah, so that came out. So there's lots of games out there, and sometimes, I don't know about you, but I just sit there and I look at my games ready to be installed, or ones that I have got installed. I'm like, oh, I fancy playing that. Oh, I fancy playing. And then you almost get kind of choice paralysis almost, where you just don't know what to choose.
Yeah, well, that's it. We've got enough new things to play with it, but I'm not. This is not sort of a negative at all. But like you say, with Games Pass and Games with Gold, the amount of games that are available, even if you get EA access, on the Xbox as well, there's just so much to play. There's so much choice, and having backwards compatibility, on the Xbox and through, your Gold subscription and through the Games Pass model, it's brilliant. Because like you say, you can just look at what's on there. It changes monthly or bi-monthly, and there could just be something there you think, oh, I'll just have a, even if it's a couple of hours, just have a, sort of a nostalgia trip. You couldn't do that if you had to go buy the game or, borrow the game from somebody else or rent it. So, to have them on demand as well. It's just, like you say, you just sit there and just think, oh, you want to play something, but then what do you play? You might have 20 games that are sat there you could play, you just don't know what mood you're in. It's just, it's a good situation to be in. Like I say, it's not a criticism, but, when you've got so much to play, it's, get it while it's good, while the gaming's good, get on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like on Sunday morning when I was playing Forza, I fancied playing Titanfall, so I didn't have that downloaded onto my hard drive. So I've got EA access at the moment. So I went and attacked a palm tree that we had out in the front. So we had the previous people who lived in their house. They had a palm tree out the front, and we kind of cut it down ages ago, but it kind of had grown back, and it was almost like a pineapple. It was like a pineapple was taking over my drive, and it was getting into my car, and there was palm fronds. I think that's what you call them. They were everywhere. The leaves of the palm tree were everywhere. So I attacked this palm tree with a gusto. And while I was doing that, Titanfall was downloading, and literally I played one level of Titanfall. And I was like, yeah, because I finished it on PS4, because at that point PS4 was like my console of choice, because that was doing HDR. So I kind of had a quick go of one level of Titanfall on the Xbox One, and then I was like, yeah, okay, I'm done. And I just deleted it, and then kind of went on to something else, because I think I'm desperate for a bit of a shooter at the moment. I think I'm looking, I keep looking at Halo to maybe go back through Halo, but I know that the Master Chief Collection is getting some Xbox One X enhancement, kind of maybe just before E3. So I'm just like I'm holding off playing the original Halo again.
Imagine seeing that in 4K. That'll be something, won't it? Yeah, I haven't had that since my my launch Xbox One. I don't think the Master Chief Collection, but yeah, if I get hold of a copy of that from Boomerang, and just even if it's just a case to just have a look at it in 4K, just see what it looks like. Just playing Halo, the original Halo, that is in 4K, it'll be worth it alone. Because that'll be that'll look really nice. It'd be interesting to see if the enhancements for you can switch between the classic mode and the updated mode on the original Halo, can't you?
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see if they do a 4K update for the original version or just the updated version. I don't know what they'll do.
It's interesting. Yeah. So whether the original version gets a 4K bump, but then you could then toggle to the enhanced, the double enhanced mode. But yeah, I reckon that come kind of close to E3, they're going to announce that, and then that will probably be free in Games of Gold. I reckon Master Chief Collection will not Games of Gold, go into Game Pass. I reckon Master Chief Collection, enhanced 4K for Xbox One X, and that will go into Game Pass. I reckon that will just kind of sit there, and maybe we'll get Reach as well, because that's the only Halo title that's missing at the moment, because they got ODST, but we haven't got Reach.
Yeah, that would kind of round it off nicely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would. It really would. So you had everything. So you imagine. I was talking to a guy the other day at work who kind of hasn't played Xbox. I don't think he's ever had an Xbox. And I said, you could just join Game Pass and you could get all of the Gears of War, Halo, and it was just like, I think it was a very kind of enticing proposition to him. He was like, well, that sounds amazing. That's a lot of good games to play. If you just kind of join Game Pass from afresh.
Well, that's it. Even if you don't get any games with the console, if it, be it an X or an S, like you say, if you get the just the Games Pass subscription, because I don't know about the S, but particularly in the X, you get a month's free subscription in the box anyway. If you just get the console and keep that subscription for free for the first one, then $7.99 the month after. God, you're set for months there, aren't you? You wouldn't have to necessarily buy a game. When you've got new first party games coming out as well. So it's people who haven't bought an Xbox yet. It's definitely the time. The time is now.
Yes. Indeed. Right, should we jump into the news? But before we start the news, don't forget you can rate, review and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes and also YouTube. So in the news section this week, the E3 rumour mill is flowing with rumours of a new Pokemon game. We've got some information on Mario Tennis Aces, and 2018 has been hit by some delays. But the first piece of news, sir, is with you.
Yes, it is, and as you hinted there, we have some Pokemon, some Pokemon news, but there's the rumour mill is starting to churn out the rumours, as we saw last week, which some of it indeed was correct. Which we reported.
Rage 2 is real.
Rage 2 is a thing, so there you go. The Canadian branches of Walmart do have some inside information somewhere. So this is Nintendo related and directly Pokemon related. So they're much sort of anticipated, I'd say, particularly from my sort of perspective anyway, the Pokemon game for the Switch. A little bit of information that's come out about that. So had a logo potentially leaked, an image of the potential art or logo for the game, but allegedly it will be called Pokemon Let's Go, and respectively will either be named after Pikachu or Eevee. So it'll be named Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. It is looking potentially like it's going to be influenced by their Pokemon Go app, the game that was on mobile. But the game will be loosely sort of influenced and based around Pokemon Yellow, which came out on the Game Boy, and set in the original Kanto region, which you'll either have Pikachu or Eevee as your mascot while you're travelling the region. So it's all kind of a little bit, is it, isn't it? With the information that we've got, whether to sort of believe if it's real or not in terms of the information that we're getting. But it certainly makes sense that in some way that Pokemon Go integration is a thing, because I think that would work quite nicely, really. With both being mobile platforms, if you could go catch some Pokemon, say whilst you're walking to work or travelling to commute to get to work, that sort of thing, then you can come back and you can see the Pokemon that you've caught in your game on the Switch. I think that would work quite nicely, and it would kind of revive people who have dropped off use of the app on the phone. It'd kind of revive and get their interest back involved with it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because there's sort of rumours that there'll be a sort of a peripheral like there was with Pokemon Go. There was a peripheral available for it that will help you sort of find and catch Pokemon. There's a sort of again, whether this is real, sort of a screenshot. There's an image that's come out about the sort of an aquatic route, travelling around in the region that you'll be playing in. But certainly, I think it's about time we heard some more information about this game, because beyond the initial launch, say that there was a Pokemon game coming out for the Switch, the information has been kind of a bit dry. We've been kind of short of information since then. So I, for one, will be keeping sort of a close eye on it, see if anything does come out across the sort of the E3 timings with regards to it. But I'm all for it. I'll happily have a Pokemon game on the Switch. Sort of tying in with last week's saddening news that they won't be doing a virtual console on the Switch. It'd be nice to see the sort of the historical Pokemon games come out as well. But yeah, certainly if it could sort of have some sort of integration with Pokemon Go as well, That'd be interesting to see how they work it, and if it is actually a full-blown game itself, or sort of more of a progression and development from Pokemon Go. So yeah, does Pokemon get you going, Anthony? Are you still off for Pokemon?
I think, do you know what? I think kind of a Switch version of Pokemon will kind of get me going. I haven't really played a Pokemon, apart from Pokemon Go, I played that, but I haven't really played a Pokemon game, I think, since maybe the, it was like the clamshell DS. So it's been a while. It's been a while since I played it, but what I did play, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that game. So a next-gen graphical Pokemon would definitely kind of get me going. I always wanted one to kind of appear on the Wii or the Wii U, and so actually having it on the Switch really does kind of get me quite excited. Has there been any kind of hints about what it's going to look like? In terms of graphics, is it going to look like Zelda or Mario, or is it going to look a little bit maybe
from
basic?
From what I can see in the information source, it suggests that the visuals will be familiar in terms of sort of reflect the origins of the game, but be sort of a higher resolution of the 3DS games, like Sun and Moon. So we'd get sort of a 3D sort of version of that, so not sort of like 2D old school graphics, but sort of an updated version of them to keep it sort of a little bit retro and sort of have that sort of harkening back to the old style graphics. But I think it'll just be more of an up-resed, an upscaled sort of version of the 3DS games that we'll see. So. Which I'm not altogether against. I don't think we can expect that the game looks like Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow did back in the day. I think it has to be 3D.
Yes, yes.
Given the age that of gaming that we're in, I don't think Pokemon. I think Pokemon works better in a 3D world. In this day and age. So it should be quite nice. Should be quite shiny, especially on the on the Switch in terms of inevitably, if the rumours are true. You will be playing this 99% of the time in handheld mode. So it will be nice to see sort of an improved, an upped performance, sort of scaled up version of the 3DS game. So I'm excited. Like I say, I like Pokemon, albeit I've not got a 3DS or a 2DS. So I haven't played the last generation of Pokemon games. But certainly I'll welcome it. I'm more than happy to jump back in.
Yes.
And for me, certainly, because I don't play Pokemon Go anymore. It'd be good to kind of have that link then, because to me that was something that was missing from Pokemon Go. Because yes, you could catch the Pokemon and battle them, but this sees those sort of, the Pokemon you capture come to something then, doesn't it? Because if that ties into the story of the main game,
yes,
then it's kind of. It's a requirement that you go out and capture new Pokemon so you can do sort of gym battle boss fights. So that'll be interesting sort of tweak on it, especially if they have different Pokemon for sort of different areas that you live in as well. Different parts of the country. If you're by the coast, if you're in a city, if you're rural, that'll be interesting to see if they do that. But yeah. I'm all for it. I'll be interested to see if there is a peripheral, what that peripheral will be, because I don't think it'd necessarily need it. But again, whether it's true or not, I'm sure we'll see over the E3 period. So yeah, that's it really.
It sounds good. I kind of imagine like a Switch Pokemon, maybe the first one that they bring out will be something that look a little bit like Stardew Valley, kind of like that kind of 2.5D, but great looking, and like you say, kind of make you feel kind of hark back to previous days while they maybe build and make maybe a proper kind of fully fledged 3D kind of Pokemon game. But I love the idea that there is a little bit of a Pokemon Go integration, because I think, didn't Pokemon Go change recently where you had to log in with your Nintendo ID, so it's definitely, there is a common ID across all of those platforms. So, you're right, if you go off into London and you kind of capture some city Pokemon and then come back and that's, they integrate into your game, it would just be, because you don't want to be walking around with your Switch out, do you? You don't want to be walking around in the streets, with kind of tethering to your phone and doing that sort of stuff. So it would be really cool just to kind of see how they integrate. But so there's no news on when we're going to get the announcement for that, or whether we've got to sit tight for E3.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if we do see it over through E3, I mean, I imagine we would. But yeah, there's certainly no sort of dates or sort of anything to expect from the. It doesn't say that it's definitely coming over E3, but I'd imagine we would be because I'd certainly. Again, it doesn't say anything about a release date, but I would expect this to be coming either the back end of this year or certainly start of next year, because in the same article it actually says that it's the 20th anniversary in September when Pokemon Yellow actually came out. That launched in September 1998. So that potentially would tie in quite nicely if that's what they're aiming for. So if they could launch it sort of holiday season this year, it'd sort of tie in quite nicely with the anniversary of the game itself that it originates from. So that's what I think anyway. That's my pre-E3 prediction early anyway.
And Nintendo do like an anniversary. They do like to celebrate an anniversary or a year of. We had the year of Luigi, and they do like that kind of to celebrate those. And kind of next piece of news is keeping with Nintendo really, and that is the fact that we have Nintendo have served up some Mario Tennis Aces information, and we have a pre-launch beta that is happening in a couple of weeks and change. So they are. I'm just trying to get to that news item because my iPad has just left. So they basically announced that Mario Tennis Aces which is coming out on the 22nd of June, is going to have a beta. So we're going to have a beta for a week. We're going to have a weekend of beta. So you'll be able to try Mario Tennis Aces from UK time, 3 p.m. UK on Friday the 1st of June, all the way until midnight, Sunday the 3rd of June. So you've got a nice kind of couple of days over that weekend. Available during for that beta, you'll have 4 characters. So you'll have Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and Bowser. And I think there's obviously they might be unlocking some more during the beta, but they are the ones that you're going to go into. And I was looking at the trailer, and I'll stick the trailer in the show notes. But I was looking at the trailer, and it definitely just showcases those 4 characters. So you'll be able to play through the tournament mode, and I believe there's going to be a little bit of the adventure mode as well. So one article, which is Bleeding Cool's article, said that you'll also be able to play single player. Offline tournament modes will be available during the period of the beta. So the single player, which is just you against the AI, you'll be able to play that. But adventure mode, you'll have to, if you want to play adventure mode, which they announced today, you'll have to wait until the full game comes out in June the 22nd. Adventure mode looks quite cool. Luigi, it's always Luigi. Luigi has been kidnapped. He's been taken away by Wario and Waluigi. It's up to Mario and the others to save him, and it looks great fun. It looks like lots of kind of like tennis mini games. So there looks like one that is very Luigi's Mansion-esque, with lots of floating mirrors and floating frames. I'll stick the trailer in the show notes as well, so I'll stick 2 of them in there because it looks good. Are you interested in Mario Tennis Aces, Steve?
I think as we sort of alluded to before we started recording, to me it's something that I'll definitely rent through Boomerang. Because it's probably one of my least favourite sort of branches of the Mario franchise, but it just offers something a little bit different, doesn't it? There's always something that they can do differently with the Mario series, or sort of turn his hand to, where it makes a change that Luigi's been kidnapped rather than Peach. So there's something a little bit different there, but sort of the kidnapping of James Thomas's favourite Mario brother, anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I know they've sort of tweaked it quite a lot, haven't they? In terms of the sort of the modes, the controls with the Joy-Cons rather than the nunchucks from the sort of the previous sort of tennis outings on the Wii. So yeah, it'll be it's good to see that they've got the sort of the online functionality as well. And some of that is actually available. In the demo, the pre-launch demo as well. So, it's good to see that is on there, because, as the Switch, develops and ages, having sort of a better online community, an online sort of, pull for the other games, sort of like the Mario Kart online modes and Splatoon, that sort of thing. It'll be, I think it'd be a rage-inducing, for me, because tennis has never been my favourite sport. It's one sport that I've never quite got to grips with. I sort of, in my time, I've sort of played squash and badminton, where I've been used to hitting the squash ball or the shuttlecock as hard as you can, whereas the tennis ball, I know it's kind of a bit more accuracy involved. So whether or not I'll be able to master it on the Switch or not as well, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's worth a go on, for a rental, like you say. So whether I'll get the demo before it comes out, I'm not sure. But yeah, it'll be something else to give the Switch a go out on. It's, again, like I say, it's good to see Mario still going in as in as many different forms as he can. And you can pre-order it with a cap, a little tennis cap. So
yes.
So yeah, for those who are wanting to pre-order it, you can play it in your respective Mario Brother hat.
Yes, so you get a Mario or Luigi hat with the pre-orders now. And yes, I can just imagine James kind of have that. Maybe Matt kind of turning his into a Waluigi hat, just kind of getting the Sharpie out. But I do like the idea of playing this game, kind of rounding up the sparks and maybe have a winner stays on. Because I reckon kind of hearing Matt scream down the headphones will be hilarious. But it would be definitely rage-inducing and fun. Did you see this week? Did you speak of Mario Brothers? Did you see the pictures that were circling Twitter this week, which was the Mario and Luigi without any facial hair?
Yeah, how haunting was that? It's
they were weird.
No moustaches and no eyebrows. It's just whoever thought to do that? Why? Somebody's got far too much time on the hands somewhere. Just sat there looking at a picture of Luigi. And Mario
wonder.
I'm going to take his eyebrows off. I'll take his tash off. But yeah, it's why somebody would do that. I have no idea.
It was so scary. I saw the Mario one first, and that was like, ooh, and then someone posted Luigi, and I was like, wow, that is just haunting. That is just like it really made me chuckle.
Yeah, somebody's ruined Luigi for James forever now. He'll forever see bald Luigi.
So that is Mario Tennis Aces. Like I say, the beta is coming out 1st of June, Friday the 1st of June till the 3rd, so the 1st of June to the 3rd of June, both kind of GMT and Pacific, so it's not just kind of for the UK, it's for the US and Japan as well. So Steve, next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, so it's a sort of a bit of a collective news item really, sort of a culmination of bits of dribs and drabs of news that we've seen over the last couple of days. So it's just the delays of games that we've seen over the last few days. I can't remember if it was I can't remember if we mentioned it last week or it was on one of the previous podcasts about Final Fantasy7 Remake. I know we've mentioned it quite a lot in our WhatsApp group about when it's actually going to come out, when we're going to see the first episode, when we're going to see it finished, and this week we've seen somewhere that it will be in its final form by 2023, which is a long time away. Which it fits in with a milestone for yourself, Anthony, which I'm not sure you want to share or air on the podcast. But yeah, it's a long time away, isn't it? That's
oh my god.
If we are going down the episodic route, that's a lot of episodes or a lot of time between episodes. Between the releases that we see. So yeah, that because it's already kind of people's interest waning in it because we've not seen a lot of information about it. But then to find out you won't see the end of it till 5 years time, that's a long time. Because just thinking 5 years time, we could already be on the next batch of consoles. So you might.
Yes. Yeah, I should think we would.
So depending on backwards compatibility, re-releases, that sort of thing, if they're coming out on episode or disc, will the last ones be playable on the new consoles, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm shocked at that one because, like I said, I think I mentioned it, I think it was last week, that I am interested in it, but I'd prefer it if it was more sort of old school Final Fantasy, that it was just a remake of the original game rather than a sort of a reimagination of it. So yeah, so well done to its completion in 2023. I don't know, because I might be the same as you, that you were with Metal Gear Solid. I might get to the same point that I always do with Final Fantasy7 and then just drop off, just never see the finish of it. It's who knows what'll happen by 2023. They might even never finish it at that rate. The project might get canned. They might move on to something else. You don't know, do you? So yeah. So that was the more surprising news of the week about delays. But today, just before we went to podcasting in preparation, that we've seen that the remake of Shenmue has also been moved So that's no longer coming out this year. That's been moved, and as has Metro Exodus. That's also been moved to 2019 as well. So, sort of pre-E3 news in one sense, but then taking away with another. It's for me, the biggest one is Metro, because those games are really, really good. Really atmospheric. Great games based on the novels. Great reimagination of that, and the trailer that we saw last year looked stunning. And that game will look superb on the X. The sort of the underground settings. The above ground in the post-apocalyptic, wasteland area. That game will look fantastic, and they have said that the time spent will be for extra polish, which I'm all for, to be honest. The longer, the time they spend the time on there to make it better, I'm happy for that. But by the same token, in some ways, I wish they wouldn't announce games so early, because it's only sort of another year, that we have to wait for it. But if that had launched, if we'd have seen the first information or first trailer, should we say, this E3 this year, then that kind of keeps the excitement going, doesn't it? Because we saw information about it last year, we were kind of expecting it this year as it was originally intended and planned. So, which they probably weren't expecting the delay, albeit, because things do happen if they become across some sort of bugs or issues with the, the programming or whatever it may be. These things can't be sort of, they can't be helped. So, but yeah, it's just kind of put a little bit of a dampener on things, really. Because like I say, we've got the, the rumours about the, the Pokemon game for the Switch, and the ones that we mentioned last week. So, with one hand we get some good games, but we take away with another. But yeah, the Final Fantasy7 one's a biggie for me after we talked about it last week. And whether I'll see it to its end and its conclusion, I'm not sure. But if they're going for it, then hats off to them if they can make it worthwhile hanging about for 2023. But yeah, that makes it sound like we should have an episode each year. But that episode's got to be decent length, because it has to be a decent length to keep you interested to come back the year after, the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. So what we'll see from it, I don't know, but I'm sure we'll see some more information about it over the course of E3. But yeah, will you want to polish it off to round your celebrations off come 2023, or?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I can understand if Final Fantasy 7 was a brand new game. Do you know, if it was a brand new game, then I would happily wait for those, like, that episodic. But this is a remake. They're going to take another 5 years for a remake. It's just, and as I think, as we said last week, Square Enix do have an E3 press conference. I don't think it's a press show. It's more of a treehouse, isn't it? It's like 9 o'clock Pacific time. They're going to put a video up on the internet, which will just be, and to say, here you go, here's Final Fantasy 7, and it's releasing 2023, or will be complete 2023. I just think they need to get a demo, or not a demo, but they need to get episode 1 out this year, surely. And there has been other internet rumours that the composer is working on the music, so it does all sound like it's going along. But for them to just then go, it's going to be 5 episodes, one a year, that, I mean, if they were going to do it like that, then they would have to then put up a page, put up a screenshot, go 5 episodes, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, and that is kind of so people know. But it's a big ask to wait, isn't it, for a year between kind of each episode.
It'll have to have something to keep you hanging on there, won't it? It's, as we know, Final Fantasy 7 was quite a long game, so to remake it in terms of the sort of the full 3D sort of dynamic combat that they are doing, it will take a lot of time and a lot of effort. The game will be quite big, but I don't think there's enough to fill it out for that long. I honestly don't think there's enough there, because, like you say, it's an old RPG that we're waiting for a remake. Albeit, like I say, that game was lengthy, but in comparison to games by today's standards, to The Witcher, to Oblivion, Skyrim, there's no side quests in there. It's very much the story, and that's it. The sort of the later Final Fantasies, there was some sort of optional sort of side quests and some other bits, but with Final Fantasy 7 it was very much, there's one story branch, there's one arc to it, and you follow that path. We can only wait and see, can't we? We can only wait and see. They'll have to have something to keep us going for that length of time, but what it'll be, I have no idea. I have no idea. So we shall see. We shall see.
It's bizarre. I mean, Shenmue 3, I'm happy that that's kind of gone back a bit, because that does need polish. That needs the respect that it needs. And also, we did have the announcement that they're releasing kind of with enhanced gameplay or enhanced control system Shenmue 1 and 2, and I do want to go back and play that, so that gives me plenty of time to play that, before we get saturated with Red Dead Redemption and all the other goodness that we're going to get at the end of the year. So that gives me plenty of time to mess around with Shenmue 1 and 2, so I'm happy with that. But it's just this Final Fantasy. I just wish they'd either can it or bring it out, just stop messing around with it. And I'm just like, it befuddles my brain. And similar to you, Metro as well. That was kind of one of the really cool standout moments last year. We had Anthem, we had Metro, the new Metro game. I think the Metro game, was that on the Microsoft?
Yeah, I think they used it as part of the sort of the X sort of to showcase that, didn't they? So I think that was part of there. But like you say, it's I wish that in the Final Fantasy would be, here it is, finished, polished, done. There you go, enjoy it. But yeah, it's. I didn't play Shenmue, to be honest. I think I was a bit young for that. So Shenmue for me, that if I do play it will be, it will be a new sort of outing for me. So yeah, I mean, I've got the did it come out? Was it on the Dreamcast? Was it the Dreamcast that Shenmue came out? I'm right in saying that, was it?
It was the Shenmue 1 and 2 Shenmue came out on the Dreamcast, and then Shenmue 2 came out on the Dreamcast and the original Xbox. And I think with the original Xbox, you also got a DVD of basically the cutscenes from 1 to kind of catch you up as well. I'm sure that's kind of what happened, because I think I've still got that. So those coming out with enhanced controls, I'm looking forward to kind of just jumping in and kind of having a bit of a...
Yeah, I never had a Dreamcast, so it's the one console that I didn't have in terms of the older consoles.
I love my Dreamcast.
It's something that obviously since acquiring the sort of the older consoles again, it's something that I've looked at to pick up, because like I say, I've never had one, but it's knowing what games that were available for just that sort of, i.e. Shenmue, that's worth sort of justify picking one up for.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll inevitably I'll pick it up at some point, but yeah, that's we'll have to wait for that as well. Sadly, until next year. So
exactly.
Yeah. But if it's worth it in the long run in terms of the quality, if the quality's all the better for it, then let them get on with it. I'd rather they do that than rush it out and patch after patch after patch, or not be right and be broken when it comes out. So yeah, take the time and just get on with it.
Yeah. Exactly, and I think one of the points that you made kind of was about people kind of announcing things too soon. If you're going to announce something a good kind of couple of years off, then keep the momentum going. Keep that momentum kind of. I think segueing in nicely to the next news story that I have, but Sea of Thieves did it really well. They kind of kept that content coming. We kept seeing new builds, and so there was that constant build of hype kind of coming into the release. It's like, this is what we're doing, and they obviously asked the community to help them kind of almost test and shape the game as well. But keep that going, because all we've had here's a bit of a teaser trailer for Final Fantasy7, and we haven't really had anything else since, and that was 2 years ago. That wasn't last E3. That was the E3 before. We've had E3s and PSXs, and there's all of that, and we just haven't seen anything at all, and so it's just that nothingness. You've got Below is also in that category, where Below is coming out. There were some really good indie games that were showcased last year. That Blade Runner looking indie game that was showcased last year at E3, and then we just haven't heard anything since. We just haven't heard anything, and I just almost feel like it would be quite nice just to kind of touch back every now and then and go, yep, this game's still coming, it's still looking good, just so you're reminded about these games. But it's very funny where they're like, right, here's a game, and now you're not going to hear about it anymore, and I was worried, because I thought Ghost Stranding, the new Kojima game, would kind of fall into that as well. But luckily last week, I think in between the podding, Sony announced that they're going to do their E3 briefing, and Death Stranding is going to be one of the games that they're showcasing there. So hopefully we'll get a bit of gameplay rather than just a bonkers trailer with Del Toro and a baby in a jar, but luckily, hopefully we'll actually get some gameplay this time. So it's when it's done well, that hype can be built and you can constantly kind of get excited about stuff. But when you just announce something and then you go quiet for 2 years, that just kind of gets a little bit frustrating, I think.
And then to be told you won't see a conclusion for the next 5 years as well. You've waited 5 years, but you'll have to wait another 5 years. So, like I say, when it's done well, it's done really well. And I think it's always difficult, balancing. Like I say, it's a difficult balancing between people's expectations, reality, and when it goes wrong, it goes horribly wrong. This is why James will shudder mentioning No Man's Sky. When it's done wrong, in that instance, it can go wrong. But when it works, it really works.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm with you. You have to stand out in terms of trying to get people's attention these days, because with the amount of games that we have, these days, there's always a fight for time in a console or for somebody to play it. So you need to do something to pique people's interest and keep that interest going. So yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather people play the hands sort of 12 to 18 months before it's ready, that it will be coming next year sort of thing, rather than, like you say, 2 years, silence, and then inevitably people just drop off. So, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, and we'll see what other things are announced this year. And like you say, the other games that we've not heard anything from a while, see if we get release dates, because I always like it as well when we get to E3 and they say, it's out now, or it's out next week or next month, that gets you going, because it's like, oh, I need that now, because you get caught in that sort of that hype of an excitement of watching it, somebody else play it, and then I need this game, and it's like, it's out tomorrow, or it's out now. It's like, oh yeah, I'll have a bit of that. So hopefully there'll be a couple of them as well, because it's normally the sort of the indie games or the smaller games we see that from, don't we? But again, for them guys, that's the perfect sort of thing to do, because whilst they're in the while they're in the spotlight, get it out there, get themselves out there, whilst they've got people's attention. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's exciting times, because I think we said last week, with the X and things like that, it'll be interesting to see what people are doing for it. So yeah, should be a good year, hopefully, albeit hopefully not marred by any more sort of delays or setbacks, hopefully.
Yes, and we are less than a month away.
The countdown is on.
The countdown has begun. Though, like you, I mean, that kind of, and it's available today, is that kind of, that just goosebumps. I was listening to a podcast while I was cooking this evening, and they were saying, oh, maybe Crackdown 3 could be that out now moment on Game Pass. You imagine that, it's just, I guess the only thing that stops them doing that is the world's game press is at E3, covering E3, so they don't get the reviews, they don't get the previews, etc. They don't get that because most people are kind of at E3. But if you're looking at kind of, for the gamer, etc., then you just go, right, that's available now, and I love it. They've done it a couple of times, it's happened, it's done, available tonight, and it's incredible, even if it's just demos. I remember there was about 4 E3s ago, there was like demos galore on Xbox 3, no, it must have been longer because it was on Xbox 360, and there was just like, after an E3, it was just like, here's all demos, and I remember spending the entire night just like waiting for the Sony conference at 2 a.m, just like downloading demos and trailers and playing all of that, and it almost felt like you were there. It kind of gave you that almost kind of second screen experience.
Yeah, well, that's it. And if they could do that with Crackdown 3, that I think that'd send the sort of the Xbox community into meltdown. Because that's one of the few sort of first party IPs that we know is definitely in coming imminently for Microsoft. So, and that again, with how remembering what it looked like on the 360, the original game, that sort of graphical style, the sort of the arty style, the cell shading sort of thing, that'll look fantastic in 4K. That and it'd be nice. I mean, I don't think it has had a 4K bump, but even if they said, "Oh, Crackdown 3 is coming out this year," but Crackdown, the original one, has got sort of a 4K uplift. Imagine that. So there's a 4K patch available now for the original Crackdown. Because that hasn't had one yet. I don't think, has it?
It has,
it?
Yeah, it's available now.
Oh.
It's out today.
Yeah, it's out now.
I did it.
Oh, right, yeah.
There you go, Lost Spark. It's out today moment. Yeah. Right, and then the last piece of news is with me, and that is the fact that Sea of Thieves is getting some patches. Not just eye patches and elbow patches, but it's getting a patch that I'm really kind of quite excited about. Now, as of time of podding, which is the 16th of May, the latest patch has just been removed from Sea of Thieves because it has been crashing the servers. But that latest patch, which I'm guessing will be out next week, it's basically opening, it's creating open and closed galleons, so open and closed crews. So what it's called the seat is taken, and the description that Rare kind of gave was that players now have two crew type options available to them. They have open and closed crews. Open crews, this option in the same way that you're used to for galleons will just open, and then the rest of the players would just get matched in. But then you have the closed crews, and I think this is fantastic because this will enable 3 people to just take on a galleon together. So if you just have 3 people in your party, you can close the crew down, and then so it's not a rando doesn't just kind of just loop into your galleon and then kind of either cause havoc or not do what you want because they're not on mic, etc. So I really like this addition. Like I say, unfortunately, it's just been removed today because it's been causing some crashing. But this open and closed crew really does just kind of give that great sense, because like I say, you could take out a sloop on your own, which you can do anyway, but you can just take out a galleon on your own if you were that brave. But you could just have 2 people on the galleon and not worry that you're going to just get kind of circled in or looped in with a couple of randos. So I'm quite excited about this. This is quite cool.
Yeah, well, that's sort of it's a good option for what we mentioned last week. So I've not played it yet, for when we inevitably have a sort of a spods assemble Sea of Thieves evening, to make sure that it's just who we've got going on. Like you say, you do get some good moments from just meeting random people online, but certainly for people who are new to it, just to get up to speed with it and be lectured by James on how to be a proper pirate, to have that true experience. It's certainly a good option. Sadly, obviously they've had some issues with it, but it shows that they're trying to do the right things for the community in terms of improving the experience. If you just want to, like you say, be alone, you can just go solo. If it's just a couple of you, you can just have a couple of you, like you say, just a sloop or a galleon. So yeah, it's nice to see that they are actively looking at ways to improve the game. And keep it sort of interesting and keep people interested in it. So yeah, that's nice to see.
Absolutely. They've had some other kind of fixes to it as well. The kind of patch notes has the kind of, one of the ones that really made me chuckle is it's the Who Goes There patch. And basically what happens is when you swim underwater, you couldn't really stealthily kind of swim up to another pirate's galleon because your gamer tag would be visible above the water. So they've taken that away, so enable you to be kind of stealthy. You can also hand people items as well. So if you've got all of the bananas and your teammate hasn't, you'll be able to hand them a banana or a cannonball or something like that. So just basically sharing items. So I like the fact that they're kind of obviously taking some feedback in and they're kind of just changing this. And then all of these patches, this closed, open crews, the items, etc. This is all coming before we have another big announcement for kind of another quite a big event I think is happening. So that's kind of coming next week, or the announcement's coming next week. And then in the YouTube clip that I was watching, which had the guys kind of talking about the update, they said after the next kind of big event, they're then going to go back to weekly events. So they will start bringing in weekly events into Sea of Thieves, which will be great fun.
Yeah, it kind of gives it a bit of a Destiny spin to it there, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does. It really does. So you go, right, guys, right, let's go, this week, jump in, we'll do the weekly event and then kind of get that and then we're done, and that's, I quite like that. I quite like that idea. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah, and I think that's always the sort of the slant, the tilt that the game was going to go down, wasn't it, with sort of the multiplayer or the sort of social side of things, and I think it'll, still be finding its feet in terms of obviously what sort of content that comes out to it, because obviously this sort of thing obviously has been done in terms of the sort of the open world online things, but not in the sort of the pirate, sort of the pirate theme or, that world, so it'd be interesting to see what other things come out beyond that, see what these events actually are, is there any sort of new areas that come out, any sort of new different quests or, objectives that you have to do, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they actually, what they actually bring out and sort of like say what extras that they bring to the table as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to see what this next piece of content is, and then beyond as well, because that's just it's a game that whenever I jump in, I just kind of really enjoy. Like I say, we need to get you, and get the guys together so we can kind of have a bit of a Sparks evening, kind of just like causing havoc on the seas. It's a shame we can't have, because there's kind of more than 4 of us. There's 6 of us now, isn't there? So it's a shame we can't have like a galleon and a sloop, just kind of going together. That would be good fun.
The training wheels on the sloop. Yeah.
Exactly. You and I relegated to the sloop, and the rest of them are just like high and mighty. But I think the chances of trying to loop into the same servers are, even with kind of James maybe kind of tipping someone off, I still think are very slim. But we can jump in. Kind of 4 of us can kind of take on a galleon and just kind of go for a sail. But yeah, no, we definitely got to do that.
Yeah, it's a nice little gif that we had the other night. Pods assemble on Twitter. This needs to happen. It needs to happen.
It really does. I don't even mind just like I don't even mind just kind of watching the chaos. I'll happily watch it on Mixer, and just watch the chaos. That's what we could do. We could have all of us on Mixer, and then just loop in. Go right, okay. Now we'll take out this person and put this person in. And just kind of loop in and out. Especially with closed crews, I can say it now. We'll be able to do that, because we'll be able to close it down, and we'll be able to just say, right, okay, you've had your hour. Now we're just cycle someone else in, so that's really cool. It's good fun.
So someone doesn't relinquish the responsibility of the helm. They don't let go of the wheel. Like, no, I'm not leaving. It's my ship. It's my galleon.
Leaving. Yeah, exactly. We could just throw them in the brig then,
fire them out,
because that's the great thing about Sea of Thieves is that when you're kind of 4, when there are 4 of you, you can vote. So if 3 vote for someone to go in the brig, they go in the brig. And they have to, go in there and think about what they've done.
Reflect on their actions.
Exactly. And with that note, that's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening. Steve, thank you very much for pulling up on mic.
Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. We're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube, and also Gamers of Lost Spark, PS4 Community, and Xbox One Club. Steve, where can people catch up with you?
So on Twitter, I am at SteeCarter91. Likewise on the Xbox, I'm SteeCarter91, and on the PlayStation, on the PSN, I am Cartero.
Excellent stuff. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. That's it. Well, we'll chat up with you next week. Right. Chat up. Chat up. Chat up. I think that was a cross between we'll chat and we'll catch up with you next week. We'll catch up with you next week. What is up with my tongue? Right, we'll catch up with you next week. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye. We'll chat you up next week.
Chat you up.
Yeah.
Totally leaving all that in.
Why not?
Oh, chat you up.
Why not?
Oh my goodness. What is up with my tongue? I couldn't say close cruise. Open cruise, close cruise. Open cruise, close cruise.
You see, it gets you, doesn't it?
Open cruise, close cruise.
Yeah.